So let me do the intro. So welcome to Stories for the Earth.
Hey.
Hey. So before we get to our interview, we're going to briefly say why I'm doing these interviews. The practice of herbalism is as diverse and dynamic as each individual herb and each individual herbalist. There are many ways to be an herbalist and many ways to interact with the plant world. Each herbalist takes their own path. This series explores the many ways to be an herbalist, who an herbalist is, as well as a discussion on herbalism today and where herbalism might be going in the future. So I want to welcome herbalist Julie Douglas today. Hello. Yes, awesome. So Julie owns Wildkrafted Kitchen, which we will get into talking about today as well. So, all right. So, yeah. So, just tell us a little bit about yourself and describe how you got interested in herbalism and what sparked this interest, and basically why did you want to be an herbalist, do this herb thing?
Yeah, so I guess it all started in my Colorado days. I lived in Colorado and was just really interested in dealing with plants. Like I didn't come from a background where my parents were like hippie herbalists or anything. My dad always had a garden, which I was always very interested in, going in and looking at all the little bugs and seeing what critters I could catch out there. But yeah, then I moved to Colorado. I had some health issues happening and I kind of just needed space from my small hometown and wanted to learn how to like live on my own at 19. And so moved out there and just got into nutrition first and then growing food. Moved to Washington to Orcas Island to woof there. So it's like working on farms in exchange for room and board. And yeah, so growing food was kind of where I started first. And then one of our tasks was to go out and wild forage stinging nettle.
Oh.
And yeah, I had never met this plant before, and I just
had you heard of it? Like,
nope,
no,
I had no idea. So I was just like, all right, sounds kind of dangerous, but they really want to make pesto for the restaurant that they ran there. So I went out with gloves and little clippers and started just harvesting and with like no knowledge really. And so just getting to know the plants that way felt a little backwards maybe. I don't know, I guess growing and then harvesting. It's usually you like know a little bit about what you're harvesting, which ideally
right.
But
if you've grown it first, right?
Yeah. I was mostly interested in like growing organic produce for like restaurants and stuff, and then I realized that there are so many like food deserts out there, and that good food is like not really accessible to a lot of people. So I wanted to start some community gardens and realized annual crops are really intense like growing, and it just takes a lot of work to kind of keep up with the annual crops. So perennials is kind of where it's at. And many herbs are perennials, and many herbs can be food as well as medicine. So,
and they're very like low maintenance. But for me, like I have lots of success growing. Like I have a little balcony, and so I have lots of success with comfrey in a pot. But everything else seems to like die. So even like medicinal herbs, like I just do better when I like find them just growing. Like you know, it's like that's like and it's very low. Like the only barrier to entry like is knowing what the plant is and finding it, instead of like I think that there's a lot more things you need for growing vegetables. And especially if you're like in a food desert, I feel like that could feel like a lot of knowledge that might be hard to learn. Especially if your family aren't farmers and stuff like that. So I can see, I can totally see where that, because even like a dandelion will grow in a city.
Yeah, they say one thing that's always stuck with me is medicinal herbs, like the more you neglect them, the stronger medicine they produce. Just because a lot of those plants are high in volatile oils, so that's their like defense mechanism, basically. So if you baby them too much or feed them too many like fertilizers or things like that, it kind of makes them not produce those volatile oils and a stronger, resiliency. So yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, I like that. It's like low maintenance gardening and just checking on them every once in a while and, whacking down some comfrey to kind of top dress them just to feed them. It's nice, but it's good to know that you don't have to like put so much effort into keeping them alive usually. But some things are a little finicky. Each herb has their own needs, and so I love growing plants, and so after working on the farm, I moved to Asheville and did like a permaculture course and urban farming school, and we had a section in there how to make like salves, just basic salve making, and I was just like, ooh, this is really interesting, like herbs on your body, like wow. Great, very accessible way and usually safe way to like receive herbal medicine is topically, and very effective, for bee stings or poison ivy, plantain and jewel weed. Those are great ones, and really nice to introduce people to because it's like an immediate effect. Same thing with essential oils, although I use them very sparingly. But your olfactory glands trigger this response in your system that is just like immediately, just triggered. So you kind of feel it right away, and that's really nice to kind of see and introduce people to if they're kind of skeptical about plants and healing.
Yeah, like I know I walk down the my road and like I'm like always like reaching out to sort of swish the lemon balm and the rosemary and just be like
yeah.
Lemon balm's a real good one because it's just like you just sort of crush a leaf up and it's really strong lemony scent, you can really get some of the probably even the essential oil benefit through that, even if you're not actually using it in essential oil.
And smelling it triggers that response.
Yeah, I just like, I'm just like, I must look like a weirdo, just.
I've had many instances where I'm like ethically, wildcrafting, and I lived in Saluda, which is just south of here, like 45 minutes, and it's pretty rural there, and I'm sure my neighbors were like, what is she doing crawling around in the woods and just like always in dirt? And I've had some pretty interesting interactions with people, like first of all, like get off my property.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah, and then second of all, like, oh, some people are just curious and like, what are you doing? And any opportunity I have to like talk about plants, I'm just like, oh, okay, like let me tell you all about this if that's okay.
Right, sort of like see, you sort of open up with something, be like, maybe let me tell them about a little bit about like what I'm doing, and sometimes people will and sometimes they won't, but
yeah, usually they're receptive to that. Genuinely curious.
And it's like, oh, okay, you're not doing too much weird stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of these plant things.
Right. Yeah, but I've learned to like, obviously like asking permission of the plants is really important. And of like people, if it's okay to like harvest on their property. But that also has really made me like realize my privilege as like a white person, you know, sneaking around someone's property at
Right.
sunset, you know, that's not everyone can do that. And so it's a really like jarring kind of thought that just because I'm white, it's, you know, it's kind of okay. But
Right. You're just gonna come off with like probably just someone being kind of mad at you
yeah,
instead of
like
like maybe, other things, other consequences.
my life's not being threatened. So,
Right.
but yeah, with
Yeah.
herbalism, I've learned a lot about that as well. And just accessibility and privilege in the healing community is a big thing that, especially this year, I've been really kind of opening my eyes to more because it's just really important to recognize that.
Definitely. Definitely. All right. So
Yeah.
so you went to the Blue Ridge School of Herbal Medicine here in Asheville. Um, what do you what was like something you felt that was important that you learned that sort of stood out over the course of your time there about herbs and herbalism? Like, what did you sort of take away um, from having that educational experience?
Yeah. So the first thing, Corey Pine was my main teacher there. And we had a bunch of other guest teachers that were really amazing, just coming from all different backgrounds of like eclectic herbalism, folk medicine, flower essences, and things. But the first thing we learned was do no harm, which feels really basic, especially in like a healing setting. But it's kind of easy to either forget about that when you're first going into it and just being like, I want to help people and like I'm just gonna like prescribe or like diagnose people and then give them herbs, and it's like, whoa, like back up a little bit and really get to know the person as an individual, get to know their symptoms and their physiological as well as mental health. That really goes into it. So before like giving someone herbs, I think it's really important to remember do no harm, even though I'm not intending to, but like educating yourself, and just really making sure that you're not just too quick to give someone plant medicine, because even though plants are generally more like safer than a lot of pharmaceuticals out there, it's still people can have reactions and
Yeah.
still poisonous plants, and dosage is key. So yeah, do no harm is a big one, as well as like healing. Healing is not linear, which I constantly remind myself
Yeah.
that. And it takes, it's like holistic. So it's not just taking plants and you're fine, you're cured. It's like, looking at mental health, looking at physical like health. Are you able to exercise, or what are you eating? Food is medicine as well. So looking at things in a holistic way, and yeah, just knowing that there's no like straight path to a cure.
Right. It's very up, down, left, and right.
Yeah,
You know.
and a lot of times that's hard for people to hear. I mean, it was hard for me when I was having my health issues. I would love for there just to be like a pill to fix everything, but it's really
Yeah.
taught me resilience and like becoming stronger and getting to know like our bodies on just a really deep level. I think that curvy path is actually really great for building self-awareness and yeah, just getting to know your body more and becoming more resilient. So it's important these days too.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely would also love if there was just one pill. I've had and still have, like, I have, chronic health issues that take constant work.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be a thing. Like, there are certain things that I just can't do. And if I do, my body yells at me, like, it's just like, hey, this is not, we can't, you gotta, yeah. But it definitely, and I think I got partly into this situations because I wasn't listening to myself. I was just like, yeah, I hear you. I'm just going to keep on a trucking.
Yeah.
And suddenly it was like, no, full stop breaks. So, and on one hand, I think I'm much stronger and much healthier. On the other hand, like I have these, I don't want to call them limitations, but just things that, like, hey, you have to do now. And maybe eventually I will be able to heal enough where, like, I can do less. And that's the hope. But yeah, it's definitely like, mind and body that had to work on. So yeah. I think a lot of people realize that actual healing is a lot harder than they've been thinking it might be.
Yeah, and that's something I'm taking a little break from clinical practice, but meeting people one-on-one is really what I love to do, and I think that can get to the root of things a lot easier just working with people in that setting. But yeah, it's like compliance, and it's the first time I meet a client, I'm like, I kind of remind them that, like, I'm not going to heal you. I don't necessarily see myself as a healer. I'm kind of just like information, like, to kind of help bridge the gap and help you on your journey. So I'm kind of an assistant in that. But I specifically will not heal you. I can give you some tools, which is really helpful. But
Definitely.
yeah, reminding them, like, healing's not linear, and it does take effort, and we're in this together. And I think it's helped me being able to connect with people, having my own health things come up, and just kind of being really, like, being vulnerable with them, and meeting them where they are, not being like, you need to stop eating sugar, like cold turkey, like, it's like, maybe your body is just reacting to that in a negative way, but can you try and, like, reduce it, or
Right.
take little steps, or adding good things, first, before you, like, take away all of the vices and the things that have been actually, like, comforting, especially with sweets. It's like, usually
Oh
when you
yeah, that's mine,
looking for, like, nourishment, and a lot of herbs medicinally that are really nourishing and feed the nervous system are like sweet in nature. So like milky oats, it's a really good example, or licorice can be one.
Especially if you get the milky oats as like glycerin, which is
Yeah.
how I like to take it. It's like the only tincture that I do with a glyceride.
Yeah.
Just because it's like soy based, which I can do, but, like, I have a sensitivity, so I'm like, I do better with the alcohol, but it's so sweet and tasty that I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can't help it.
Yeah, you're like, this is medicine. This is
I'm just gonna drink this whole bottle. Excuse me.
Yeah, I make some good ones. Glycerids are really great for, like, the aromatic plants. So I have a Happy Belly formula that has, like, chamomile and fennel and ginger, and some other herbs that it's in catnip. So it's great for, like, upset nervous stomach. So if your tummy gets upset because you have anxiety, and it's in a glycerin base, and it's just, like, so nourishing, just yeah, feels really good and gets to all the like the vagus nerve and like all the nerves inside of your stomach, which there's a lot.
I think that's a lot of people are experiencing a lot more. I think a lot of nerves, nervousness, stress right now. I heard I forget where I heard it, but like each age has their own like health concerns. And I've heard that like ours is a lot of like stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
Our particular year. I'm just gonna say this. Heather commented, if someone enters my garden, they're bound to get me, pulling green leaves up to their nose and saying, "Smell this." So I thought that. And she has a rather great, awesome garden. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that comment up. And she says, also, I try to see what good things I can add to my life as opposed to placing restrictions on myself. So yeah.
I think that's important because I personally have struggled with like over restricting certain things, especially food wise, and that can really be mentally not great. So yeah, adding good before taking away the other things is nice.
Right, and then if you add like more good things, you might realize that you less you don't want to eat that chocolate bar as much because you are getting what actually your body and your brain and you want.
Yeah, because cravings, that's just another cue that your body tells you, like, hey, I need a little extra magnesium or iron or things like that. So it's good to listen, but to kind of think before you just down a bunch of different things, and then you're like, I still feel a little empty inside. But
yeah. I mean, I love the chocolate, but sometimes it's just like, why did I eat that? I
started making my own, like I love creating and concocting, and that's just like a really nice creative outlet for me. So making my own like chocolate with like maple syrup or honey is a really good way because you're like forced to be patient with the process, and then by the end you're like, oh, this is really satisfying. Like I made this, and you want to like cherish it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Add herbs to your chocolate, so then you're like, this is my medicine.
Well, I was thinking about I've always wanted to make rosemary Gladstar Zoom balls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because one reason is like my energy is always low. So with all my so I'm like, that might really help. Also, it's sweet. It's got nut butters in it, and it might really like like help me out. Also like help with that sweet tooth and things like that. So, but yeah, if you haven't heard of her Zoom balls, they're really, really awesome.
Yeah. I made them, and then I think Michael Moore had a recipe for it too, with like, I want to say there's like guarana or there's some like stimulating herbs in there. And I made them for actually graduating the herb school. I made them for everybody. We were all just like zoomed out.
Super Zoom balls.
Yeah. They're like, what do you put in these?
Atomic Zoom balls. Like those atomic, like, do you remember those atomic, hot candies?
Yeah.
Atomic fireballs. Yeah, I never even tried them. I was like, no way.
Yeah. I tried to try them and didn't last long.
That's a good name. Oh, how they put with mushrooms.
Yeah.
You can put mushrooms. Yeah, you can put mushrooms in them. It's really just like so if you can search the recipe on YouTube. There's she has a video with her doing it. Rosemary Gladstar Zoom balls. You probably search it just on the internet because it is up there, and basically it's just like it's like a base, and then you could put all these different herbs into it. Like it's like I think there's chocolate and nut butters and
sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, they're so good.
It's really very open. You can, play around with the recipe, so which is cool. Yeah. Woo. All right. So, so on your journey, has there been an herbalist who has really like inspired and supported you? Did you feel like there was anyone you considered like an herbal mentor? And this can be somebody like that you have, know in real life, or like maybe like an herbalist who you look up to and read their books, or just anyone who's inspired you.
Yeah. So I think that one of the first people to inspire me in my herb school, well, my teacher, Corey Pine, he's a character. He's great. Knows a lot. He's really, I love the plant walks with him, like very engaging in nature. So yeah, Corey Pine's great. And then Janet Kent and Dave Meesters.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they run Terra Silva out in Marshall, and I think or is it? Yeah. But they came in and taught a couple of classes, like a whole section at the Brewery School of Herbal Medicine, and they have their own school now too. But just the way they convey their knowledge in like a very accessible and like radical way. Herbalism is radical and a type of activism for sure. So they're very, very passionate about like accessibility and not appropriating medicine and decolonizing medicine, especially. And so, yeah, I look up to them a lot. And then as far as like, Thomas Easley also has a school in North Carolina here, and he teaches like eclectic medicine. So I really appreciate that, like the more science-based ways of doing things, and so he just has just such a like knowledgeable, nerdy brain for herbal medicine.
I know I have one of his books.
Yeah. I have some books here. Is it?
Yeah, we're gonna. Yes.
Yeah.
And it is pretty sciencey. I was really blown away by some of his, like, so you could get, like, it was, it was how to get, okay, so mushrooms, okay, Heather in the chat put up the recipe for the Zoom ball, cool. Put up a link to the Zoom balls, so, and then I will, it's not gonna let me do this. All right, later on I'll put it into the description so that everyone can get the link. I mean, I can show you the link, but it's not gonna help because it's really long.
Yeah.
But but I'll put that so everyone can actually click on it later on. So yeah, so like the mushrooms, they extract only in alcohol, like, and then I was like, well, I was thinking of like the anti-cancer properties of mushrooms, and I was like, well, would that work in like a skin salve? But like, how do you get that into an oil? But apparently he was already thinking that, because there's a method. If you have a plant that their active, their medicinal properties only extracts in alcohol, but you want to put it in an oil, he has that. And I was like,
yeah,
whoa, I haven't tried it yet.
Is it the intermediary oil with where you macerate it, or you just wet the herb in a little bit of alcohol and you leave it overnight and then you infuse it into oil?
I don't know. I think we remember like some sort of evaporation process.
Yeah, that could be that's one way, an intermediary oil. And Noelle Groves, she has a recipe for that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm curious to see Thomas's. But yeah,
book is in the other room actually.
Cool. I wonder. Well, so I know like polyphenols are more soluble in the water, and that's usually why you do like a double extraction with alcohol and water and heat for mushrooms. So I wonder if there's a way to do like a hydrosol or like an infusion with witch hazel, because there's a little bit of alcohol in that, and then somehow blend it into a lotion. I use Tulsi tincture in my lotion. Ooh, that's a secret recipe.
Ooh.
No, it's not really. Everyone should know how to make medicine. So, but you can put like tinctures into lotions, and it'll offset with like.
Okay, so that would probably work better. But like it, just the whole like concept of you could take something that was more like that you feel like it wouldn't go into like a salve, like you couldn't directly infuse the plant into the oil because it wouldn't extract the the active ingredient, constituents, but like you could take anyway. So I was just
and that's why I love him. He has like a lot of clinical experience, and I sat in on some of his classes and case studies, and I was just like, like, amazing. He can just figure all these things out. So yeah, and then anyone who's like, I mean, anyone can be an herbalist. I think like you don't need to go to school. You don't need to pay money to like learn about herbs. And I think the certification process is interesting. Like I got a certificate, but yeah, I really want to encourage people, like you don't need to go to school if you want to learn about herbs, because that could also be like a very capitalistic way to look at things. Like my knowledge, is you need to like pay a lot of money for it, when it's like I've done a lot of self-study just with like books and just researching and getting my little hands on anything I can in the herb world. So, but yeah, that's inspiring to hear that you don't need to go to a school, but it is nice. I love an academic setting. I learn really well that way. So,
yeah, and I think due to the either fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of schools are going online that were in person because of the coronavirus. So there is a little more access, even if you're not getting some of that hands-on stuff. And I think that the barrier to payment, I think it may be lower. Yes. So just on a aside, that's yeah. So should we, on the subject of books?
Yeah.
Yes. So tell us about some of your books.
Yeah.
You got there.
I have my little stack. I have but these are my favorites.
Right.
My book, which was first recommended in my herb school, Herbal Medicine from the Heart of the Earth.
Nice, I have that one.
It's very worn. Like you could see, there's like.
That's how you know it's a good herb book.
A lot, yeah. I got this in like 2015 maybe, but yeah, this has a great like introduction, especially to properties and actions of herbs. So when we say it's like, well, anti-inflammatory would be like a really easy kind of accessible thing people have heard a lot, but it's like, well, what does that exactly mean, and what herbs? So it has it lists kind of like all, I don't know if you can see this, but all the herbs that are anti-inflammatory in this book.
Let me see. Bust out. Oh, hold on. It's on the stack.
But yeah, and then it has a materia medica, so it just goes through and goes through a bunch of herbs and tells you what part is used, their tendencies, if they're cooling or drying, dosage. So that's
here we go. So I don't know if this will see anyone can see it any better, but right here it's like anti-inflammatory, and then over here is all the herbs, and it goes through the whole list: antifungal, antiparasitic, parasitic, and it tells like a description of like what that is. You know, what,
actions. So that's a great one. That one actually I also found online. Like you can access the Materia Medica online if you just Google. I think you just Google the title, Herbal Medicine from the Heart of the Earth. It should come up. Yeah, I mean, there's years where I like didn't actually read any novels or anything. I just read Materia Medicas and that was great. But at a certain point, I was like, okay, I should step away from this sometimes just to have a broader range.
So that's the name of the book. If anyone is interested, this is what it looks like. It's got a little lovely. It's really cute. Like I really love the cover. It also has formulas, which are great. Like if you tincture formulas, in the back.
And then I kind of flashed this one up, but Thomas Horn's book here, The Modern Herbal Dispensary. This is how I learned how to make my glycerates. So I do it the steam method, kind of like your canning, but you use glycerin and water instead. It's like a 40-60 ratio. So he has a lot of great formulas in here and just a breakdown of like topicals and like what things are soluble in, which is, I think, pretty important when you're medicine making. You can do it the folk way and it's definitely effective, but yeah, he has different like solvents in there and what they're soluble in, glycerin, alcohol, water, vinegar, or oil. So I love this book. And then he does have a Materia Medica in here,
which is Materia Medica is just like plants and their actions and their uses.
Yeah, it's a monograph of them.
Yeah, so it's just like parts used, habitat,
dosages,
just like a big informational sheet if anyone is unfamiliar with that term.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
So that's a great one. And then David knows a lot about herbs too. So I have his big medical herbalism book. But Adaptogens, you'll probably appreciate this one.
Definitely.
Yeah, this one.
Yes, that is a real good one.
And just adaptogens in general, which are herbs that help kind of balance your adrenal glands and kind of feed and nourish your HPA axis.
Yeah. Oh, it's reverse here on the StreamYard, so it's.
Is it? Oh, I can read it.
Oh, I meant like when I go like this, I'm trying to go the opposite way. Yeah. No, the words are. I'm glad the words.
I know, that'd be hard.
So yeah, everyone's probably heard this term adaptogens. It's if you've been doing any kind of herbal things lately, and this is just all about it. Yeah.
Reducing stress, and then another invasive plant medicine.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is amazing. I mean, invasive plants, like kudzu and Japanese knotweed, all of those are pretty much medicinal, and they're abundant, so we might as well be using them to heal with. So yeah, and it's also healing the earth, kind of using those plants instead of just poisoning them.
Yeah. I'm going to put up the link to that. It is on Amazon. I don't even know if that did that. That might not have worked. Aha!
It's Timothy Lee Scott. Oh, and Stephen Berner forwards it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's $22.95. Not very, very affordable.
Yeah.
Not that one.
That one. And then my last one, Western herbs in Chinese medicine. My herb school did a pretty big section on traditional Chinese medicine. So kind of blending that with eclectic medicine and more like Western herbalism. Yeah, this, Chinese medicine is great. Like the whole background of like assessing the body and, if you run more hot or cold or damp or dry, those characteristics really present in herbs as well. So, you wouldn't want to give a really warming herb like ginger to someone who is already pretty hot in their nature or has like a lot of like liver fire happening. So it's useful to learn about that, but also to use herbs that you can grow here and you don't have to get from like China, which is nice. There's kind of alternatives to use herbs that are abundant here.
Yeah, and they have a really good like you were talking about the diagnostics. The Chinese herbal medicine has this wonderful like way of assessing what's going on in the body, and I think that a lot of us Western herbalists have sort of adopted a lot of these ideas. So and then they use the hot, the dry, the cold. They use these terminologies, so it's if you're, this would be a good book,
there's a lot of crossover.
Yes, there is. And I would definitely like to learn more about, the Chinese medicines. I took some little classes in Chinese traditional medicine, but not enough. I was just blown away. So,
yeah. Pulse and tongue diagnosis. We did a little bit of that, and I was just like, "What is a slippery pulse?" Like, I don't even like. That's why that school, like acupuncture school, is like 4 years because it's so in depth. And and I always every year I'm like, should I go to
acupuncture?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know. So here I am. But
and there's one. I had a similar, thought, and there's one here that's close by that deals a lot more on the herbal side.
Taoist traditions.
No, there's another one. There was another one in Black Mountain or I don't know, but anyway, we're all awash in like herbal schools here in our small town. But
so my books, they're kind of all different, and I mean I have a lot more, but
right.
Them all day.
Well, those are awesome. Thank you for sharing. I put up at least the names of all of them, and then I'll put up links of all of them when because this replay will be on YouTube tomorrow. Cool. It's about 24 hours, so everyone will be able to have those resources. So awesome. And
I have other links too to send about like herb schools or a lot of black lead healing spaces too that maybe might be helpful for people.
Yeah. So if you definitely, if you didn't, I have some 2 organizations that you had mentioned, which we're going to talk about, but also like if there's more, just text me and I'll put them up. Because part of the reason we're doing this is to help share some resources and information for people to check out and explore and stuff like that. So on that note, so you're the owner of this thing called Wildkrafted Kitchen. Just tell us about it and why you started it and what it is.
Yeah, so Wildkrafted Kitchen is my herbal business. I started in like when I graduated herb school, so about 2016, and I was mostly just making stuff for friends and family and myself, just kind of learning as I was doing. So I didn't launch until like a year after that because I wanted to test all my things out on my family as guinea pigs. No, just kidding. Do no harm, you know.
Right. But my family.
Yeah, my family, they're fine. They're all alive still, so that's good.
That's good.
Yeah. But yeah, I just felt really passionate about kind of bringing medicine to people and trying to do it in an accessible way. Um, so I started with skincare and topical products like salves and body oils and things like that, just because, as I said before, like putting plants on your body is such a great way to receive plant medicine. And it's like generally pretty safe and yeah, so I started doing that and I started doing like farmers markets, vending and selling at markets and festivals. And I have an online Etsy shop as well. And then I expanded into some internal use products and formulas that I formulate myself, taking into consideration like all the different herbs that interact with each other and with people. So yeah, I love formulating. I get really nerdy about that process, and uh, yeah, so I have a whole line. It fluctuates, but anywhere between like 30 and 50 different things, and so there's kind of something for everybody. And I do custom formulas and consultations as well. So recently, I've been not doing them in person, but
Right.
online
Yeah.
is a good way to do it as well. So with the consultations, um, I have people fill out an intake form. It's very in depth. I want to get to know like them as an individual, their whole health history, and then we meet for like 2 hours and just kind of talk and get to know each other, and then I will write them up a treatment plan and make them, 1 to 3 formulas depending on what they're comfortable with, compliance. Uh, I'll give someone a tincture instead of an infusion if they're really busy and just don't have time to like make teas and let it steep overnight. So like yeah, meeting people where they are in their
Great.
healing
Yep.
journey. So yeah, I've been doing that, and it's a little different this year. I miss doing like farmers markets and in-person events just because if someone came up to my booth and was like, uh, "Is this formula good for me?" I would get to know them there and do like mini consultations, and then I might be like, "Actually, no, but I can make you something." Like I'm very honest um, about that sort of thing. Like I don't want to just sell products, especially
Right.
when it's physiologically like changing your body internally. So yeah, being really careful about that and using all the right language. Not diagnosing or curing or anything like that. So yeah, it's been a huge journey for me. Um, as like a solo business owner, there's been a lot of challenges and but a lot of like growth and learning within that too. So I'm really thankful to have Wildkrafted Kitchen as my little baby.
Yeah. Um, so the links are in the description. And then also Heather put up the Facebook link and the Etsy shop link. So if you wanted to check out um, more of, Julie's products and everything, and, if you wanted to have a consultation,
Yeah,
you know,
I do sliding scale as well, and that's just like pay whatever you can or feel comfortable with. And I've been doing a lot of like donations to different organizations recently. So yeah, if you feel like you can't afford something, just message me, or I can work with you. Definitely, I want it to be accessible.
Awesome. Well, it's important to, I mean, yeah, it's just crazy that we have like so much good medicine in this country, and it's so inaccessible. And I think that it's really important for medicine to be accessible, regardless of ability to pay. And that rolls us right perfectly into our next. Our next thing we're going to talk about, which is so you mentioned you're working, or you would, I think you're working, or you would like to work more with the BIPOC community. And if anyone needs a definition of what that stands for, it stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. It's really it's definitely a new term in the last couple of months for me. I think it might have been around longer, but I'm just uncool.
We're learning.
I'm learning, like we're all learning. So yeah, so I'd love to talk about that. And then so what are your this idea of accessibility? So what are you doing, or what are your ideas to help create better accessibility of herbs, herbal medicine to that community? And also I'd love for you to speak about your mutual aid project that you're starting, which sounds amazing. So yes.
Yeah. So yeah, accessibility is, I think, a really important thing for us to be talking about, especially within the healing community, within herbalism. There's just, at least when I started too, like herb schools were mostly consisting of a lot of like white females, which is fine, but it's also like, why aren't there more like Black people? Yeah, like why? And so I've just recently been really thinking a lot about that, and the way I am going about my herbal practice, if that's accessible, and just kind of really like rolling back and just being like, I need to relearn a lot of stuff. I need to learn a lot, and just really make space and amplify the voices of like Black healers, because there are a lot out there.
Yes.
Just need space for them. Yeah. And
I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second.
Yeah.
On that note, if there are any Black herbalists or anyone of color that love to come on the show and do an interview, I'd love, I'd love to also have some diversity in this. Yeah. So sorry.
Yeah, I have a whole list of Black-owned apothecaries and wellness spaces, so that even instead of buying from me, like support these people. Like I think that's really important, and learn from them. Like I'm definitely going to be signing up for classes. But yeah. I think accessibility and making space, and just for me, I felt like it was really important to take a step back and just like stop advertising, like stop trying to sell stuff, and just relearn and listen, and be open to making mistakes. But yeah, I realized like herbal medicine is like a colonial thing, and it's kind of, a lot of it has been appropriated, and a lot of plants that I don't really use now because they're not mine, and those practices are something that I should respect more, and kind of look more deeply into. And we live on stolen land, so it's kind of important to like take a step back and learn, and just be open to making mistakes, but learning from them, and just yeah. So with that,
Yeah.
I have been working with the Shiloh community here in Asheville, which is like the oldest historically Black community here. They have like a community garden and just a really great
Nice.
space there. And they just started doing one of the organizers there, Chloe. They just started doing a free market, like a monthly free market.
Ooh.
So, for
How
the
did that?
community. And there's one
That was
Saturday
cool.
tomorrow on Halloween.
Oh,
Yeah,
if you're in Asheville on Halloween.
yeah. I'll try and get the, but even that, like, we've been donating medicine to them. Just it's a free market, and people go there for like veggies and people who have low income or just need that support.
But
Um,
so just real briefly, how does a free market work? If because I mean my friend did one and I feel like it's very new. But anyway,
yeah.
right.
So I mean, I'm pretty new to like nonprofits and mutual aid projects, so it's definitely a learning experience. But right now, I think it's solely based on donations, and especially here in Asheville, like there's so many herbalists here and
Yeah.
people who are into plants or know a little bit about plants and medicine and have something to share or give. Um, so yeah, uh, I was a part of a group called the Appalachian Herbalist Cooperative, and it's still a group, but we're kind of trying to find more herbalists to kind of come together so that we can make it sustainable to do these donations, and then eventually, have it be self-sustaining so that we're able to like pay people and
Oh, nice.
make it
Yeah.
worth their while. But yeah, I'll send you the Shiloh Community Association. Can I just send it in this private chat? I'm not on the. Let's just.
Are you on YouTube? No, you can't. I think you can't send it.
But it's.
Can you see the chat?
I'm not on.
No.
I couldn't get to YouTube.
You couldn't get to YouTube. But you can just send. You can just text it to me through the Facebook Messenger.
So.
Hmm?
Wait, I can. I don't need to be on YouTube. I can see it right here. Cool.
You can pop it into Facebook if you're on Facebook.
Or
the Stories from the Earth.
Well, anyway, I sent it in our private chat on this StreamYard thing. But on Facebook, it's the Shiloh Community Association.
Oh, private. You know what? I got it, and I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh,
I mean, I've you learn stuff.
That's right. We're learning.
You learn stuff. Let me pop it up. Yeah, I didn't. Wow. All right. Awesome.
So that's one community, and with that, like I we want to be really careful that we're not like just barging in and being like, hey, let me save y'all, let me be the white savior. It's like I honestly like struggled with knowing whether this is even needed or if people even want that.
Right.
So it's kind of like
you have to ask.
Yeah, it's good to ask, like, how can I be of help if any? So luckily a lot of people are open to that and just receiving that, and yeah, so that's Saturday, and they're always looking for donations. Also, Asheville Survival Program is one that more of a mutual need.
Yes. So let me see. I've got that. So these are two programs.
Mm-hmm. They're mostly on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, let me pop that up.
And they do a lot of like crowd funding and crowdsourcing for all sorts of needs, like monetary, like money for people who need to pay their bills and rent, but also look for herbal donations and like care packages. But yeah, I was finding it hard to like find places to donate to by myself. So I think, and just because I have an apothecary, but I only have so many herbs and so many things to give. But yeah, if other people are interested in donating herbal medicine for care packages for the BIPOC community, definitely reach out to me and we can distribute these things.
Right. And this is the Facebook group for the Asheville Survival Program. It's also in the description right now. And even if like you don't live in Asheville and you want to participate, I'm sure they accept donations. Just an aside, there's been lots of studies that when you give money, the best way to and this is just about money, but it can be about things, is that this is just about poor people, but poor people know how to spend what they need more than what they need. So if you're not poor, you're not in a situation, or if you're not a person of color, and so like a lot of studies have been shown that giving direct just cash to people in need, or this is a different scenario, but it works the same. It's the same idea.
Honestly, I've been doing that, like kind of step back from giving herbs for a little bit and just was like directly donating to different foundations and organizations and individual people. And then once I was asked like about herbs, then it's like, okay, cool. Yes, I have that for you. Like, And so I think, being asked but offering support is kind of like a good balance too.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm offering, let me know what you need, and then maybe they'll be more comfortable telling you, and it's very empowering, I think, to both parties, like being able to ask. And also Heather says, gosh, I wish we had something like this in my community. Yeah, I mean, every community needs these organizations. There's another one, Beloved Asheville, I put up as well. So that's another group.
They're doing a lot of great work, like food, like COVID support stuff for families who like lost their job and can't like go to the grocery store or get food. They're doing a lot of like food drive stuff.
Yeah. So thank you for telling us about those organizations that you're involved with. And they're awesome. And then before we wrap up, just a thing that you are doing a project, so if anyone is interested in growing medicinal herbs and food on a small scale to be given away at local marginalized communities, like we were discussing, can I put your email up? Or
okay. So with Asheville's survival program, we're organizing a like mutual aid garden. So I have a garden space in Montford that I'm renting and have been like looking for gardeners and herbalists or people who grow food to kind of collaborate to donate food and medicine to groups and have it be something that's like self-sustaining in the future. But I have the space and we're kind of cooking up some plans for the spring of 2021. Hopefully things will be a little more even. But if you're interested or have knowledge teaching like gardening or like garden managing, I would love to collaborate because I've learned being a gardener, like I grow a lot of my own medicinal herbs, and even though they're perennials, it still takes a lot of work to kind of prep the soil and manage the weeds, especially. So if you're interested in that, please reach out.
Email. You can also contact me, and and I can get in touch with Julie. Like, but I'm going to put her email also in the description, and you have all the information. Heather said long distance gardening is a thing. So Heather's saying that she.
Yeah.
I know.
Honestly, like
it is.
We will, yeah, and we will, like, we were talking about money thing, like donations. Once we get that up and running, helping would be a way, like donating would be a way to help with that project.
And Heather makes all kinds of stuff. She's making hot sauce. She's making fire cider. So that may be a thing, and Heather, if you wanted to get involved, and if you have any extra.
Even sending herbal medicine donations here and for us to distribute, or if there's needs other places, I've sent out packages to people. So there's ways to do it. The mail system is still running, thank goodness.
Still going. Yay. So yeah, anyway. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up because Julie has an appointment to get to. So Julie, just stay there, but I am going to remove you from the stream, but don't go anywhere. And we will wrap up for a minute after I finish going live.
Cool.
So,
right. Thanks everybody. Hope you all learned something, and let me know. You can always contact me if you have any questions, or we're like, what does she mean by that? Or, just want to pick my brain. But I'm also hoping next year to do more teaching type stuff. Oh,
sweet.
That's a big part of accessibility, is sharing knowledge. So yeah, plant walks on the ride. Yeah, and virtual plant walks. So
yes, through the magic of technology, I'm hoping to get a really nice camera. So if maybe I can film it if you lack the technology for that. We'll see. There's a lot of options. So that's the idea that just happened.
Thanks.
I thank you so much for joining us. It was awesome. Yes, all the links are going to be in the description, and Wildkrafted Kitchen if you want to check it out.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Bye. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Awesome. Well, we had a little bumpy start, but I just want to thank Julie again. It was awesome talking with her, and thank you everyone for joining us live on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you everyone for joining us in the future. This will be up tomorrow, which is Halloween. Sometime Halloween, though if you're watching in the future, it will be past that date. But anyway, oh yes, Heather, seeds. Yeah, if you want to send seeds, so we're gonna actually, because of scheduling, we're having a 2-week break. We're going to be back on the 17th of November, which is a Tuesday, with Giselle, also known as Mad Witch on YouTube. And we're going to have a little bit of a herbalism from a witchy slant, little point of view switch. And she has a YouTube channel, and I'll put all that information. I'll probably put it in the description of this one. So you can check out her channel. She is really awesome. I love her. And she is from England. So we're going across the pond for this one. I'm super excited. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a good day. And thank you so much for coming. And I will see you next time. Bye. Oh, and if anyone wants to come in for an interview, let me know. You don't have to be a professional herbalist. You can be a, however you do herbs, you can be a kitchen herbalist. You can be just interested in learning and talking about plants and health and everything. So, all right, guys. Bye.